Welcome. Today we're going to do a few things to stretch the hips. And this is great if you find that you've been sitting for a long time. So go ahead and stand up and give yourself a bit of space in which to work around you. And as you're getting set up, I want to remind you to always work within your level of comfort and maintain an even breath as you go. So to begin, we're going to get the legs and hips warmed up. And to do that, we're just going to march in place. So just start marching. If you need to hold on to support, go near a wall or a kitchen table, a sturdy chair. So do hold on to support if you need to. Let's get the legs moving, get the legs warmed up. Activating the thighs, the hip flexors. Stay tall through the spine. Try not to collapse forward. Keep your gaze forward. And then come back to neutral and step your feet a little bit wider apart, a little wider than hip width apart, with your toes slightly turned out. And just take a moment here, pause, soften your knees, lift up tall through your spine, and connect to how your body's feeling. Connect to the flow of your breath. Relax the way you may be holding your abdomen. And breathe in and out through your nose. Find some ease. And then maintaining this connection to your body and breath, bring your hands to your hips and tip your hips from side to side. Starting to get a bit of a stretch into the inner thighs, get the hips moving, loosening up the low back. And then bring your hips back to center and widen the stance just a little bit if you can. And then bring your hands to your hips again. Make sure the knees are a bit soft and tip your hips from side to side. Try not to collapse forward. Keep the torso long. Keep lifting up through the crown of your head. And then bring your hips back to the center, bend your knees and step your feet back together. Just shake out your legs, kick your feet forward. And then step forward so you have some space behind you to work. Bring your hands to your hips and lift up tall through your spine. Find a focal point to look at in front of you. And from here, we're going to work into a lunge. So we're going to take a small step back with the right foot. I'm going to turn so you can see. So what we want to do, it's important to keep a parallel alignment with the feet. So I'm not stepping directly behind the left foot. Take the Tadasana stance, hip width apart alignment, and just move your right foot back in a step that you feel you can balance in. You're not stepping way far back, okay? Make sure your back heel is down and your hips are facing forward. Bring your hands to your hips and bend your left knee. So you're lining your knee over your ankle, and we'll hold the lunge. We're gonna keep the heels anchored, keep the toes down, lift up tall through your spine. And think of hugging your belly button towards your spine to support your back. It doesn't mean you're sucking your stomach in and holding your breath. You're just activating the abdomen to help lengthen the spine. And you can hold here. You feel the stretch into this back leg, the front of the hip on the back leg, the thigh. Maybe you feel it in your calf. Hold and breathe. And you can stay here if you want, or you can move on to the next step if you feel comfortable doing that. So from here, we're going to take our gaze and lift it up. Look up to where the wall in front of you meets the ceiling. And then move or push your hips forward just a bit. And this is a subtle adjustment. You're just pressing the hips forward enough to feel a bit more of an extension through the back leg. It may be too much for you. Come back to just looking straight ahead and back to holding the lunge. So just notice how that feels to you. Make sure you're maintaining your breath, okay? And then hold, keeping the heels down, keeping that sense of activation in the abdomen to keep the low back long. And then bring your gaze forward. Look at your focal point in front of you. Extend your front knee and bend your front knee. Just a few repetitions. And then bend and move your weight forward to step forward. And then shake your arms out, shake your legs out. And then we'll do the other side. So again, step forward so you have some space behind you. Bring your hands to your hips and take a step back with the left foot. And again, it's a parallel alignment with the feet, stepping as far back as you can without letting the back heel lift up. So you're not on the toes. You're making sure that the heel is anchored. Once you're there, hold for a moment and then bend your right knee so it's aligned over your ankle. Bring your gaze forward, lift tall through the spine. And again, hug the belly button towards the spine to support the back. And hold here. Feel the stretch, that extension through the hip flexors, the thigh. Maybe you, again, feel it in the calf, the lower leg, the foot. You can hold here, keeping your gaze forward, or lift your gaze up to where the wall in front of you meets the ceiling. Just by doing that, you're going to open up through the front of the body a bit more, to open up through the hip. And then if you feel like you can, push the hips forward just a little bit. It's just a little bit of a drawing back of the shoulders, working to a little bit of a backward bend, but a bit more of a stretch in the front of the hip. Wherever you're holding, make sure you can breathe evenly. If you find that you're holding your breath and you're doing too much, back off of what you're doing, okay? So take a few breaths here. And then bring your gaze down if you've lifted your gaze. And then extend your front knee and bend your front knee. A few repetitions. Getting some movement into that leg. And then bend and shift your weight forward so you can step forward. And then come back to marching in place. Lifting the knees up in front. Relax your arms, kind of shake them out a bit. And then come back to stand with your feet hip width apart, parallel alignment. So Tadasana, head, neck, and trunk are aligned, mountain pose. Tadasana is mountain pose. And you can keep your gaze forward on one point in front of you, or you can close your eyes. And then bring your hands onto your abdomen, relax the way you're holding yourself here. Soften your knees, feel that you can balance on both legs equally. You're bearing your weight equally through both legs. And take a moment to connect to how you're feeling now after that movement. Perhaps there's a bit of warmth in the hips, a bit of release in the front of the hips, feeling of extension through the spine. Just notice what you notice. There isn't anything that you need to experience in particular, just observing. Connecting to your body, connecting to your breath. You can stay here observing for as long as you'd like. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, lift your gaze, and relax. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful for you. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Namaste.